7-7, right there even at 500, currently on the outside looking in when it comes to a playoff spot. When asked if Mac Jones would get the start this week against the Cincinnati Bengals, Bill Belichick simply said, yeah, the plan is to try to beat Cincinnati. Former Patriots Julian Edelman and Vince Wilfork both publicly took issue this week with Mac Jones' negative attitude on the sidelines this year. Unusual drama for the Patriots. Shannon, how much blame does Mac Jones deserve for this 7-7 record?
I ain't giving him no blame. Earlier this year in September, Bill Belichick told Dan Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe that if Matt Patricia and Joe Judge don't succeed this season, they should place the blame on him. Who's the offensive coordinator? Who's the jacklegs that's trying to call plays that's never called an offensive play before in their life? It's one, Matt Patricia. Let Matt Patricia call plays for the defense. Let Joe Judge navigate the special teams. But you put them in positions where he can succeed, and then you blame the man that had great success last year for not succeeding this year. Skip, check these numbers out. Now, the win-loss record, we know what it was. They went to the playoff, they were 10-7. Mac Jones had 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, had a QBR of 51. He's 5-6 now. He's thrown 7 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, has a QBR of 30. Not 30, 30. Now, points scored. They were 6th in points scored last year. They're 17th in this year. How about red zone, Skip? They were 2nd in red zone offense last year. They're dead last this year. 10th and 3rd down, 29th this year. And we're going to blame that's still Mac Jones. What has changed? The people that's in place that call the plays.
Yep.
You can expect me, you cannot put me in position where I can succeed and then blame me for not succeeding. Look what you put around him. Look what you've done to this man.
Or blame him for complaining about it on the field. Right?
Or then they take issue.
Yeah.
Or you should have did that with Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady's great. I sure would have loved to see a defensive coordinator call plays for it that had no idea. There's a difference between calling plays to attack and then calling plays reacting, knowing. Come on, man. This is some bull jive. And I get it. I get the Patriots way, Skip. The Patriots way is, we don't do anything on the sideline. But the one thing I will say this, the one thing that Julian Edelman and Vince Wilfork never had to worry about was having people in position that didn't know what the hell they were doing.
That's true.
I wonder how Julian Edelman would have reacted if Joe Judge and Matt Patricia was calling plays. I wonder how Vince Wilfork would have reacted if Bill O'Brien and Josh McDaniel was calling plays for him. Probably be a little different. I'm not saying, look, I get it, the level of frustration, but sometimes, Skip, and I'm not, I'm a very emotional guy, but I was very conscious because I know there was 80,000 fans in the stands and they were looking for me to throw my helmet and stuff like that.
Yep.
Didn't try to do that, didn't want to call anybody out because I didn't want nobody to show me up. But man, at some point in time, y'all got people thinking I all of a sudden forgot how to play quarterback. When you got people in position that's never done what they're doing.
Yep.
Skip, at the NFL level, let that sink in. I can see if they went to college. That's college.
Yep.
I've seen guys that were coaches that were D-line coaches all of a sudden become an O-line coach. Or an O-line coach go to D-line coach. Or a DB coach that was a wide receiver coach. I get it. Skip, as a matter of fact, Mike Nolan came to us. Mike Nolan was the wide receiver coach my last year.
Was he?
Yes. And then after I left, he became the defensive coordinator because Marvin Lewis left, Jack Del Rio left. He became the DC. So I get that. But Skip, to call plays? The Brian Billick can't put Mike Nolan in here call plays now. Man, come on, man. That's 1,000% Coach Belichick. Because guess what, Skip? When they was having the success, who did I give the lion's share of credit to? I ain't give it to Tom Brady. I gave it to Bill Belichick.
You did.
So now all of a sudden this thing goes to hell in a handbasket. Let's blame Mac Jones. Nah, I'm going to blame him because I gave him the credit when it went good.
Okay, fair enough. Before I launch, quick point on Mac Jones. I liked him in the draft. You said you liked him because he is the readiest to play, and he proved last year he was the readiest to play. Right. They did make the playoffs.
Right.
They got blown off the field by Buffalo. What was it, 47-17?
17, yeah. And they didn't punt.
They didn't punt. But I believe that what I said about Mac Jones will always apply, which is you're always going to be left a little frustrated with him because he's just here.
Right.
And unfortunately, he's trying to replace the guy who was there.
Correct.
It's just not even fair.
You might drop. That's why.
Here we go again. Okay, I'm going to hold it here. Sorry about that. Which one is this?
You got it right there.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so Mac Jones. He is what he is and isn't.
Right.
Going forward, that's what you're going to have to put up with. And he will always frustrate you a little bit, Patriot Nation, because he can only go this far.
Right.
He can't go where the other guy
No.
went. Okay. In leadership, in intangibles, he's closer to Zach Wilson than he is to Tom Brady because he's a little bit internal. He's a little bit of himself. And he does get irritated and angry and complaining. But Brady got irritated and angry and complained at some of his teammates for not living up to what he needed done. But this is him getting irritated at Matt Patricia.
Yeah.
He's not irritated at the
He just told him,
receivers.
stop with a quick
right?
game. It sucks.
Yeah. Okay. So he's yelling and what's Julian's phrase? His pissy faces. He's got a lot of pissy face out there, but it's not aimed at teammates.
Right.
It's about what's happening.
Right.
All right. Now back to Belichick. I did first guess this at the first of the year. I said, this is insane.
Crazy.
And it felt like Belichick wanted to go Tom Landry where I can do it on both sides of the ball.
But Tom Landry traded. Tom Landry was a defensive coordinator.
He was.
For the Giants.
He was. Vince Lombardi.
Vince Lombardi was the offensive coordinator for the Giants.
For the Giants. Okay. But then Tom said, no, I did that, and I'm going to actually invent a defense called the flex defense, and I'll still oversee it. But I'm going to call my own plays.
He did.
And you can't tell me that Belichick isn't calling plays in overseeing, like, let's run it, let's pass it. And again, then, wait a second. He appoints Coach Pencil, Matt Patricia, to actually call the plays and game plan and call the play. Belichick's overseeing, and he's got a big hand in it.
Right.
But wait, you make the special teams coordinator, who was the head coach of the Giants, you make him the quarterback coach, Joe Judge? Are you kidding?
That man don't know the difference between a screenplay and a screen porch, and he going to be the quarterback coach.
And now it's turned into a sad comedy because, listen, if it were anybody but that coach,
he got fired.
And plus the NFL world would be clowning him over this. They'd be saying, "What are you doing?" But right now it's a little bit hands off Belichick. And yet for Julian and Wilfork, I'm saying, guys, I get what you're doing, but you're complaining about the product of Matt Patricia and Bill Belichick, which is Mac Jones with pissy face, right? Well, he's only reacting to the situation he's been unfortunately thrust into that's almost unwinnable.
I wonder if Edelman had the D-line coach as his position coach all of a sudden, how he would be reacting.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's what that guy, you got a guy that's never called plays at the highest level.
Right. And again, Mac Jones can't live up to Brady in leading the locker room. That's what Brady did. He was the buffer between Belichick and the rest of the team.
But that was the problem, though. Belichick wanted the buffer out of there. But Belichick wanted more control.
Okay, and it's because he says, I've done this. I got 6 Super Bowls.
Yes.
And I'm going into my 70s, and I want the opportunity to show you I can do it my way. I can win without him. And he is trying, and I believe he's getting exposed without Brady. Okay. It reminds me of remember the classic story, The Emperor Has No Clothes?
Yes.
Do you know the stories? Okay, so the Emperor thinks that he's got beautiful clothes because these guys are designing clothes, and he actually has no clothes. But all the yes people around him, all of his loyal subjects are saying, you look so good, King. And he's parading around. He's naked. Well, to me, the Emperor is starting to have no clothes in New England because he's trying to do things that he's not capable of, and he's trying to appoint his most loyal lieutenants, his yes men. These guys, these are his most loyal, especially Matt Patricia.
Correct.
And he's putting them in power and in positions that they have no business in.
Correct.
And the loser, the biggest loser, is the quarterback.
Thank you.
It's impossible.
And he said, I think these are great coaches. I'm not arguing with you, but at what they do. Defensive coordinating. Special teams coordinating. I think Aaron Donald is a phenomenal defensive lineman. I think he's terrible at a guard, offensive guard. So that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to take people that's never done something and put them in position. Why? Because of your ego. You don't really trust anybody. And so now, because it's not often that Josh McDaniels, Matt Patricia, and Joe Judge are really the only guys